Hello students. Now we are going to start a new chapter. The chapter name is Principles of Inheritance and Variation, and under this you will study Mendel's law of inheritance. So in this section, the topic first we are going to start Mendel's law of inheritance. So the topic is we are starting from the history about Gregor John Mendel, and he was an Austrian monk. He was born in 1822 near Brunn in Austria in a poor family and joined the St. Augustine monastery. He was the he was sent to University of Vienna to study, presented his findings before National History Society of Brunn in 1965, but his findings were discarded due to the prevailing theories of evolution. Actually, that time the evolution theory was going on, so his work was underestimated. Later on, his theories were again discovered simultaneously by Hugo de Vries and Karl Correns in Germany. So, why he has selected pea plant for his experiment? What was the reason? He conducted all the experiments on pea plant. So why he has selected this plant? So some reasons were there. Number one, the reason was there, flower structure of the pea plant ensured self pollination and also well defined male and female parts. So this was the first reason. So see here, male and female parts are well defined. There it was easy to carry out the experiment of pollination on this plant, and this was a single season crop, as this crop complete its one lifespan in a single season. So it takes less time to carry out the experiments and record the observations. It was easy to carry out the experiments, and also it takes less time to complete the experiment on this plant. So that's why he selected this plant for his experiment. Then second reason, emasculation and pollination of pea flower is quite easy. So this was also a reason. Emasculation means removal of stamens, and pollination means transferring pollen grains from one plant to another. It was easy to carry out on this plant. These were some reasons. And next one is reproduce sexually. This plant reproduce sexually, and in the varieties available, several contrasting traits are also present in this plant. So you know the seven contrasting traits are present in this plant, so it is very easy to carry out the experiments also with these characters. So this plant is having many contrasting traits also for the experiments. Now see the process that was carried out by Gregor John Mendel. So see, first hypothesis, then on this basis experimental procedures were adopted, predictions were done. After that, on these experiments, testing was done, experiments were done, and after experiments observations are recorded, then the theory was developed. So this was the method, hypothetical deductive method applied by Mendel. Now see, we were talking about these contrasting traits in pea plant. So see, there are 7 contrasting pairs present in pea plant. See, seed, first you see flower color purple and white, second one seed color, third one seed shape, fourth one, first one, second, third, fourth pod color, fifth is pod shape, that is inflated and constricted. Here see the color green and yellow. Pod color wrinkled and round seeds, yellow and green seeds. So these are the traits. Sixth one is the plant height. This one is a plant height, tall and short. And the seventh one is the position of the flowers. That one is having axial flowers and the other is having terminal. This is a terminal flower, this is the position of axial flower. So flower position, plant height, pod shape, pod color, seed shape, seed color and flower colors. These were 7 contrasting traits on which experiments were done by Mendel. Now see the terminology used in genetics. See this terminology. Number 1, characteristics. This is the morphological. Character is the morphological, anatomical and behavioral feature of an organism. Second one is allele. Allele. These are the different forms of a gene. A gene for height has 2 alleles, one for tall and one for dwarf. Third one is condition of homozygous, an individual with 2 identical alleles, like those alleles are similar. You can see in tall plant, if the plant is tall, it is having 2 alleles, capital T and capital T. These 2 alleles are there and this is condition of homozygous. And if you take the dwarf plant, it is having 2 forms of gene, small t, small t. This is also homozygous condition. So if the alleles are similar, then this is called homozygous condition. Then heterozygous, see the heterozygous condition. What is heterozygous? If an individual with 2 different alleles, like you consider the plant of F2 generation having tall characteristics and genotype is capital T and small t. So these are 2 forms of alleles and this is called heterozygous conditions because 2 different alleles are present in this plant character. Now see phenotype. So what is phenotype? Phenotype is the observable characteristics of some organism like color, size, form, structure. These are called phenotype. So see, if the plant is tall, so the tallness is called phenotype. Seed color, if the seed is green in color, so green is a phenotype of the seed. So the characteristics which can be seen, these are called phenotype. Now genotype. So see, what is genotype? Genetic combination or composition of an organism that cannot be seen, like in tall plants the genotype is capital T, the homozygous condition, and second one is hybrid conditions having two alleles of different heterozygous. So capital T or small t capital T or small t, this is called genotype of an organism. Now F1 generation. So see, these are also terminology used in genetics. F1 generation, the hybrid offsprings of a parental generation. If the parents are crossed, then they are crossed, and the generation that is coming just after crossing these, this is called F1 generation. And F2 generation, the self-fertilized progeny of F1 generation of plant. After fertilizing F1 generation, the second one is coming F2 generation. Monohybrid cross. See, a cross between parents differing in only one trait or characters, that is called monohybrid cross. For example, you can see that if the tallness of a plant is considered in cross, like if capital T is crossed with small t and small t plants, so this is only the height of the plant, only height is considered here, so this is called monohybrid cross. Okay, and second is, now next is dihybrid cross. So if two characters are considered during the cross, like if you consider round and yellow, round seed, yellow color seed with wrinkled and green, so there are two traits, one is seed color and seed shape. So two traits are considered during the crossing, that is called dihybrid cross. Then next is test cross, the cross of F1 hybrid to recessive parent. So F1 hybrid means the genotype is capital T small t for the tallness, and if this plant is crossed with recessive parent having correct genotype of small t, then this type of cross is called test cross. Means F1 hybrids are crossed with the recessive parent, so this cross is called test cross here. Okay, now back cross. Next is back cross. So what is happening in back cross? The cross of F1 hybrid to one of the parent. Here it is not necessary that the F1 hybrid is crossed to the recessive. It can be crossed anyone. So this is called back cross. Okay. Now see the process of crossing of two plants here. See, the first of all, remove stamens from purple flower. So two flower are there, purple and white. So crossing is to be done between these two plants having different colors of flower. One is purple and other is white. So second one, so first of all, removal of stamens, that is called emasculation. After that, transfer of pollen from stamen of white flower to the carpel of purple flower. So that pollen grains are collected from white flower and they are dusted on the purple flower. Then this is called pollination. After pollination, mature ovules into seed, and these seeds, this is called, these after crossing, these seeds are formed and these seeds are sown. So see, if these seeds are sown, planted, then this is called F1 generation. This is F1 generation. See here, this is F1 generation. Okay, so in this F1 generation, all plants are having purple flower, because purple flower, the purple is a dominant trait here, so it is expressed in F1 generation. So this is a process of crossing of two plants. Now we will study the law of Mendel. So first law is law of dominance. So what is specific in this law? See, every gene has two alleles that can code for a trait, like capital T or small t. These are different forms of gene. These are called alleles. So they are responsible for a particular trait. Second, one allele is dominant, meaning it will always show. Means if we cross this plant with small t means dwarf plant, short plant, then in F1 generation you will see that tall plants will be there. See, capital T small t, see this genotype is crossed with this. So F1 generation all the plants are tall. It means the tallness is the dominant trait, but small t, that is short trait, it is recessive. It is not expressed in the F1 generation. Okay, one allele is recessive, meaning it will be masked by the presence of the dominant allele. So see here what is happening. If capital T plant means tall is crossed with dwarf means small t genotype, then in F1 generation all plants are having capital T and small t genotype and they are all are tall. Okay, it means tallness is the dominant trait here. See, in the down also, tall plants and dwarf plant, in F1 generation all plants are tall. It means recessive is short plant and the dominant trait is tall. Now see here, if the plants of F1 generation, if they are self pollinated, then you see in F1 generation all the plants are having this genotype, means capital T and small t. Okay, when these two capital T small t plant they are crossed together, then that next generation is called F2 generation. This is F2 generation, and in F2 generation you see all three tall plants, and dwarf. See here, three combinations are there. Tall having this genotype, tall is also having this genotype, and that's small, that is having small t so you see all the two traits, they are separate. They are both are expressing themselves in F2 generation. Okay, so if the plant of F1 generation are self pollinated, then in F2 generation the both the traits are expressed. Okay, now however this law of dominance having some exceptions like codominance. incomplete dominance or over dominancy. See, this law is not applicable here in the case of codominancy, incomplete dominancy or over dominancy. Now second law is law of segregation. See, so what is specific in this law? See, during the formation of gametes, the paired alleles, see, paired alleles, like you see here, what is paired alleles means? See, in the case of this plant, means tall plant here, so these are paired alleles here, and whenever the gametes are formed, then these two alleles are transferred into two separate gametes, each gamete having one of the allele from the parent. Okay, so this is called segregation. This is a law of segregation here. Now, the two alleles of a gene present in F1 do not contaminate each other. Again, you see, if these two alleles are present, or these two alleles are present in a plant, so this allele do not contaminate this one. They are having their own characteristics. They don't disturb the characteristics of each other. They do not contaminate to each other. Okay, they separate and pass into different gametes in their original form, producing two different type of gametes in equal proportion. Okay, so if there are two pairs of alleles, then they will be separated like this without disturbing each other in equal proportion, means 50% in one and 50% in other allele. They are in other gamete, they are transferred. Okay, now the pair of alleles of each parent separate, and only one allele passes from each parent onto an offspring. So this is the law. Which allele is in a parent's pair of alleles is inherited is a matter of chance. Only it a matter of chance. Actually, when these two alleles, so which allele transferred to which of the gamete, this is a only matter of chance. It is not definite which one will be transferred. Segregation of alleles occurs during the process of gamete formation. In the time of At the time of meiosis, these two alleles are separated randomly and unite at the time of fertilization. So see, if these two alleles, they form gamete from one plant and from other, like this. Again, two gametes are formed, these two, so they are separated. When fertilization takes place, then again they randomly unite, like capital T can unite with the capital T again. So this combination can be found, and anyone can be fertilized to any of the gamete. This is called random unite of at the time of fertilization. Now see, Mendel experiment, he crossed tall and dwarf varieties of the garden pea. See here, again they have shown you this capital T, tall plant, dwarf plant, cross them, and in F1 generation all plants are tall. See here, and again if F1 generation is crossed, then this is F2 generation here, and the ratio is there 3:1. So this is a law rule. If two are crossed, then in F1 generation only one trait is expressed, and in F2 generation this is separated in the ratio of 3:1. When F1 plants from Mendel's experiments were crossed back to the dwarf variety, and half of the progeny were tall and half were dwarf. See here, if F1 plants, these are F1 plants having this genotype, and this is recessive plant having this genotype. When we cross them back with the dwarf variety, so this is also called test cross. Here this is a type of test cross, and you see, if this happens, then 50% tall and 50% short plant are obtained. 50% tall and 50% dwarf are there. So this is a ratio of phenotype is observed 1:1 here. This further demonstrated more conclusively the principle of segregation here. Now this is data obtained by the crossing of different type of characters. 7 traits were there, so all 7 traits are crossed, and see the result. Everywhere the result is same. In F1 generation, the dominant trait and the recessive trait, and in F2 generation this is 3:1 here. See, in F2 generation this is 3:1 ratio here. Everywhere 3:1. Tall and dwarf ratio is 3:1. Same for every character or trait. Then third law is there. See, law of independent assortment. Here this law states that member of different pairs of alleles assort independently during the formation of gametes. Second, this means that traits are transmitted to offsprings independently of one another. So this is the law of independent assortment. Now see, Mendel crossed plants that differ in two pairs of alleles. See, this is now dihybrid cross. This is called dihybrid cross. So two traits are considered in one time. Round is the shape of the seed, and green is the color of the seed. So two traits means color and shape of the seed. They are considered as one time. Shape and color. These two traits are considered here. So this is called dihybrid cross. F1 hybrids were round and yellow seed as expected, because round and yellow, these are the characters which are dominant. So in F1 generation, dominant traits are expressed. When F1 were crossed or self-pollinated, 4 F2 phenotype were observed. Means in F2 generation, these traits were segregated, and if the data see here collected, if the total seeds are there 556, then there were 315 round green, 108 round yellow, 101 wrinkled green, and 32 wrinkled yellow. So this data was obtained, and this is showing the ratio of 9 3 3 1. So this is a phenotypic ratio of F2 generation in dihybrid cross. So this is data obtained. So this is a ratio obtained, that is for dihybrid cross. This is a phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross. 9:3:3:1. Now see, when Mendel crossed the F1 generation obtained with the recessive parents, 4 different phenotypes were obtained. See, if this parent crossed with recessive characteristic, this is hybrid and this is pure. So see here, the genotype of offsprings obtained here, 4 genotype were there, and phenotypic ratio was 1:1. Now see, this is the dihybrid cross shown here, round and green, wrinkled yellow, these were crossed. 2 characters were considered. This is dihybrid cross, and in F1 generation all were round and yellow, because round and yellow is a dominant trait. And if these two again crossed, then ratio was 9:3:3:1. This is the ratio of dihybrid cross, phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross here. Again you can take other example. See, round green, wrinkled yellow, the ratio is same. F1 generation are having round and yellow, and the ratio is again of F2 generation is same, 9:3:3:1. See here. So any example you can take, but the ratio is same. So now, why was Mendel so successful? As you see, why Mendel was so successful in his experiments. So reasons were there. Number 1, he studied the inheritance of only one pair of contrasting characters at a time. Means only he has taken one trait in one time and collected data. Selected P varieties that has clearly different forms of characteristics. Means it is having different type of contrasting traits. Third one, he carried out his experiment with great care and elaborateness. Means he collected the data very carefully so that it cannot be mixed up. Accurate and incisive analysis of the experiment. This was also reason. His knowledge of mathematics that was also important for him, was definite assets for the interpretations. And he classified all the plants of a population on the basis of contrasting characters under study. So these were some reasons. That's why he succeeded in his experiments. And you know that for a very long time his findings were not in the knowledge of the people. So what was the reason? Number 1, using mathematical principles for something new and unacceptable to the biologist. Actually this, he used mathematical data in biology, so this was new for the contemporary biologist. So that's why this was not accepted by these biologists. He studied contrasting pairs of characters exhibiting discontinuous variations. Unlike his contemporaries like Darwin, Galton, and others. Their theories were different from the Mendel. And third one, the phenomena of the fertilization and the behavior of the chromosomes during cell division were not known at that time. Actually, that time these biologists they don't have any knowledge about chromosomes and the behavior of the chromosome at the time of cell division. No further publishing of his work. His work was not published that time. These were reasons. That's why their findings were negligible for very long period of time. Then a study of Mendel appeared to establish the consistency of characteristics of a species generation after generation, which was contrary to the theory of the evolution at that time. Actually, that time the theory of evolution was going on. That's why Mendel's work was not given any value. Then Mendel failed to demonstrate the validity of the conclusion in other species. This was also a reason, and Mendel corresponded extensively with his contemporary, the noted botanist Nageli. So these were some reasons that's why his findings were neglected for a very long period of time. Biological significance of Mendel's law, very important thing. What is the use of these findings, these laws? Number one, it showed the patterns of inheritance of the characters from parent to the offsprings. And next one, the law of independent assortment was laid the foundation of inheritance, which claimed that different genes assorted themselves independently of another during gamete formation and had established the relationship between dominant and recessive genes. So these were some very important things which were significant for the biology. And next one is it also provided the region for variation of offsprings. He also provided the reason why the variations are creating in the offsprings. And next one, the law of segregation. According to this law, when an individual of an species mate, the copy of gene are separated and assorted so that each of the gametes receives only one copy. By this discovery of meiosis, this notion was confirmed. Actually, that time they don't know about the meiosis. So after in the discovery of meiosis, this was confirmed that only one copy of the gene is transferred to the each gamete. Okay, thank you for watching this video.